Students, welcome back to Triveni Memorial Senior Secondary School online classes. Students, today we are going to start one of our another chapter from class 6th in history, that is our chapter number 7, Ashoka the Emperor who gave up war. Student, Ashoka was one of the great emperor, or you can say one of the great ruler, but there was a time period when he was fighting war with Kalinga. He observed such and bloodshed and observed that massive destruction which hurt him a lot. And after Kalinga war, he decided to give up the war and not to believe in bloodshed or not to involve himself in that path again. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the Emperor Ashoka and how he left that part about that. That is how he gave up the war. So let's begin, student. Firstly, you can see one story is here that is regarding Roshan, and Roshan was provided with some of the currencies or notes by his grandfather on his birthday. He just crunched all those notes, and what he observed a particular similar pattern on all the notes, and that is all the notes or all the currency are carrying Gandhiji's photos on that and loan printed on those. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the significance of those loans also. So let's begin, student. Firstly, a very big kingdom is called an empire. The first probable question that can be asked to you from here is, what is an empire? The headline itself is suggesting that a very big kingdom is called as an empire. What does that mean? That means that Ashoka was an emperor. That means he ruled a large territory or a large area, large kingdom. So let's see, students, what is said here. As I already told you that in this chapter we will study about the history of one of the great emperor or ruler, and that is regarding Ashoka. In Ashoka's kingdom or in Ashoka's empire, what happened? He ordered his people to write all his instructions to his people in inscribed form, in the form of inscriptions. What are inscriptions? That we have already studied in our earlier chapters, that when on a particular stone or on a pillar something is inscribed or carved, then that is called as inscription. So in Ashoka empire, in Ashoka's kingdom, all his ideas, all his thoughts that he wants to share with his people were written in the form of inscriptions on pillars. Thereafter, students, history regarding Ashoka is provided here. First of all, we need to know to which dynasty Ashoka belonged to. Ashoka belonged to Mauryan dynasty, and Chandragupta Maurya was Ashoka's grandfather, and Maurya dynasty was one of the most dominant dynasty among the various dynasties that we have heard about. So, as I told you that Ashoka belongs to Mauryan dynasty and his grandfather name is Chandragupta Maurya. Now see, students, under Chandragupta Maurya there was one very wise man who used to work under him, and the name of that wise man is Kautilya. Kautilya or Chanakya. He was one of the wise man, intelligent man. Even his ideologies, his thoughts were concerned by people even today also and at that time also. And all his thinking, that is Kautilya's thinkings or Chanakya thinking, were written in his own book. The name So Chanakya was one of the wise men, as I already told you, and he is known for his ideologies, his thoughts. So what we can say or what we can observe is that his ideas, his thoughts were written in his own book, and the name of that book is Arthashastra. So student, now I just described one of the word to you, that is dynasty. So we need to understand what does this word dynasty means. What we can say, when rulers of a particular same family keeps on ruling in a particular hierarchical system, then that thing became a dynasty. Like I told you that Ashoka belongs to Mauryan dynasty. First, if we talk about Ashoka's grandfather, I told you who was he? He was Chandragupta Maurya. Then after Chandragupta Maurya, his son ruled, that is Ashoka's father, and his name is Bindusara. And after Bindusara, his son ruled, that is Ashoka. So in this hierarchical way, the members of the same family keeps on ruling, and that system is called as dynasty. So moving ahead, students. Yes, as I told you that Ashoka was an emperor of a very big kingdom, very big empire. So various cities, important cities were there in his empire or in his kingdom. These involves Patliputra, which was his capital, Takshila, Ujjain. These all are the name of the important cities present in Ashoka's kingdom. Now what is said here, that Takshila was a gateway to northwest, including Central Asia. What does that mean? If an outsider is trying to enter in West Asia, then the gateway to enter in West Asia is Takshila. They have to pass by from Takshila. Thereafter, Ujjain is one of the route that lays from north to South India. Yes. So what I said, Ujjain was one of the area that lays the route from north to South India. So this was one of the route that was connecting north and South India. Thereafter, students, as all these cities were important cities, so definitely these were important from trade point of views. So all the important merchants, all the officials, all the craft persons, they used to reside in these cities. Thereafter, students, in other areas there were villages and herders also. In other areas, people from villages or herders also used to reside or also used to live in central part of India and other part of the subcontinent as well. Whereas what we see, that people from forest areas were also there, and we know that as they were residing nearby forest area, so they were more dependent on forest based products. They used to collect their raw material or things for their survival from forest. They were completely dependent on forest, like they used to hunt animals, they used to grab different crops or fruits or vegetables from there. Now one thing, student, as I already told to you, these are the important places or cities in emperor that I already discussed with you, Takshila, Ujjain, and etc. Now one more important thing is there, student, and that is, as Ashoka's empire is a very big kingdom, is a very large kingdom, at different places people used to speak different languages. This is not possible that at all the places a common language could be spoken. At different places different languages were spoken. Now student, the thing is, in a particular area where a particular language was spoken, that particular language was known as Prakrit language. For example, I would like to relate that to today's example. For example, a person who is residing in Bengal will be speaking Bengali language. So what will be the Prakrit language for those people? Bengali. A person who is residing in Haryana would be speaking in Haryanvi language. So what is Haryanvi for them? That is the Prakrit language. Prakrit means ordinary language, common language that was spoken by particular people who was residing at a particular place. So that is there, and obviously as they were living at different areas, they have different food habits, they have different clothing habits, they have different speaking languages, and etc. The next question is, how are the empires different from the kingdoms? Okay, what we can say, that emperors need more resources than kings because emperors are larger than the kingdoms. I already told you in the starting of the chapter that very big kingdom is called as empire. So that means kingdom is a part of empire, you can say. So what does that mean? Emperor need more resources. Why? Because more population, more number of people are living under the emperor. So therefore what we can say that as compared to the kingdom, in a particular empire, more resources are required. Then secondly, they also need a large number of officials who collect taxes. Obviously, if the empire is very large and you can say it is covering very vast territory of region, so different number of officials are required by the emperor who could collect the tax from different people, so that in return they could just give it to the emperor, and that same amount would be used by the emperor for the benefit of people. Thereafter, student, our next question is ruling the empire. I already told this thing to you. Ashoka's empire was a very big empire, and his capital of the empire was Patliputra, and from where different orders or different directions were taken by him. And other thing, in the last topic also I told this thing to you, that he appointed various officials for the purpose of what? For the purpose of collecting taxes from common man, from hunters, gatherers, craft person, and they are going to, after collecting this tax, they are going to deposit it with the emperor, and emperor is going to use this amount for the welfare of people only. Thereafter, what happened? In order to have watch on these officials, emperor also involved spies. What are spies? Spies basically used to follow the officials. They used to keep a check on officials that they will be depositing accurate amount of tax with the king or not. Thereafter, student, with the help of royal family, yes, and peasants and zamindars, they used to collect taxes, and then that same would be deposited to the emperor. Now what is said there? It is said there was some amount of, yes, as Patliputra was the capital, some amount of control was there from Patliputra, and other than Patliputra, from other area also the emperor used to control the different places like Takshila, Ujjain, etc. that we have already discussed earlier. Thereafter, students, what we said or what we observed that the particular territory or the particular region that is under Mauryas, other than that, Mauryas tried to control, Mauryas tried to capture other nearby surrounding rivers, as well as they tried to construct various roads at different places in order to extend their territories. The next thing is, whenever there could be any celebration or any occasion, different people or different merchants or traders used to bring different tribute for King Ashoka. What do you mean by tribute? Tribute means gifts for King Ashoka, and that gifts or that currency, like that could be in the form of, you can say, gold, silver, any other metal, or in the form of currency as well, that could be used by the king for the welfare of the people of his empire. I already told you what does it involves. It involves like gold and precious stones. These were all contributed in the form of tribute to the emperor. What are tribute? I already told you, in the form of gifts that the king is getting. Thereafter, what is there? That there were different forested regions also, where people were also residing. As they were residing in forest, they were more dependent on forest products, like, and people from these forest regions, when they used to visit to king or to the emperor, they also carry tribute for the king in the form of elephants, timber, honey, or wax, or other products which were present in abundant or in plentiful amount in the forests with them. The next is Ashoka, a unique ruler. Ashoka, unique means very different ruler. Ashoka was one of the very different ruler, and he was one of the most famous ruler from Mauryan dynasty. After his grandfather, that is Chandragupta Maurya, he was famous in Mauryan dynasty for his rule. Then what is there? He tried to spread his message to people through inscriptions. and the inscriptions were written in Prakrit language or in Brahmi script. This I already told you, students. Ashoka tried to spread his message, his ideologies, his thoughts to his people with the help of inscriptions. What do you mean by inscriptions? When anything is written on a particular pillar, on a particular stone, is carved on stone, then that handwriting is called as inscription. So he carved all his ideas on pillars or on stones that can be delivered to his people. The next is Ashoka's war in Kalinga. In the starting of the chapter only I told this thing to you. That is what is mentioned here. Ashoka fought a war to conquer Kalinga for many years. And this war was one of the horrible war that Ashoka have seen in his life ever. And as this war continued for a long duration of time, what Ashoka observed? He observed bloodshed of the people. He observed the feeling of sorrow in people, that how people are in pain, how they were miserable and what difficulties they are facing. So Ashoka became the first ruler who, after getting a victory or who, after conquering Kalinga, gave up the war, which justify the title of your chapter, that is Ashoka the emperor who gave up the war. After observing such a massive bloodshed, such a feeling of sorrow or miserable condition of people, he decided not to involve himself in war ahead or later. That about it, students. The next topic is, what was Ashoka Dhama? Now see, Ashoka was one of the emperor who did not believe in worship of idols or in worship of God. He did not believe in performing any kind of sacrifices in order to please the God. People used to sacrifice animals for on the name of pleasing the God. He did not believe in own such views. He just instructed his point of view, his subject, his message to his people in the form of inscriptions that we have discussed earlier also. And in other way also, he spread his message to the people in different part. What he said or what he observed that people belongs to different religions, different castes and different culture, and this violates the situation of peace among them. These people were conflicting on the name of religion, and Ashoka was not liking that point at all. But he said, there is no issue. If you want to prefer your own religion, you can. But the thing is, you need to respect other religions as well. That was his thinking. So, as people were having quarrels, as people were having fights in their neighbors for these different reasons, so he believes in the path of peace and spreading love among people. So what he decided to spread his message to his people with the help of providing inscriptions on pillars in his empire. Other than inscriptions, he also appointed various officials for this purpose, and these officials were known as Dhama. And what is the job of these officials or these Dhama? The job of these officials is to help those people to understand the message of the emperor who were unable to read the inscriptions, who were not educated or who were not getting the idea of Ashoka's emperor. That is why these officials were appointed. We can also say that these officials were treated or were a source of messenger for the emperor. Messenger means the one who provide message to the people on the behalf of emperor. So that is the thing there. Thereafter, students, as I already told this thing to you, that Ashoka spread his message with the help of Dhama to his people, and he not only spread his message to his people, but to his other than his people, he also spread his message in rest of the country also, that is in Syria, in Egypt, in Greece, in Sri Lanka, etc. And he built roads, dug wells, built houses and arranged different treatments for spreading peace and love and spreading the humanity among people. So one important question is there that can be asked to you, that is regarding Ashoka's teaching, and what is there in that? That he did not believe in the path of sacrifice, he did not believe in the worship of God, and he believed in the concept of spreading love and peace, and he do not believe in conflicts, and he ordered his officials and tried to spread his message to his people as well as to different countries also. And at last, student, you can see more description is not there. This is the Great Wall of China. All of you are well aware about the Great Wall of China, one of the biggest wall in the world and one of the 7 wonders as well, which is known for, or which protects the country China from its enemy. So they use basically it safeguard, or it can be used as a shield by the people of China. So students, that's it about our chapter, and now we will start with the question answers of the chapter. So let's start discussing the question answers of the chapter, students. Our first question is, make a list of the occupations of the people who lived within the Mauryan Empire. They were engaged in different occupations, like they were craft persons, they were involved in agriculture, they were involved in animal rearing activity, they collect forest products also, and in other activities as well. And the next question is, complete the following sentences. Official collect is, what officials collected? All of you know that thing. They used to collect taxes. The next is, royal princes often went to the provinces as governors. They were appointed as governors by the emperor, who used to keep a watch on the herders, on the agriculturalists, on the farmers and many more, and used to collect taxes as well. The next is, the Maurya rulers tried to control tax and dash which were important for transport. Roads and rivers, I told you this thing. And the last one is, people in forested regions provided the Mauryan officials with forest products, obviously, that is your elephants, timber, honey and wax. And the next is your true and false. First one is, Ujjain was the gateway to the northwest. No. What was the gateway to the northwest? Takshila. The next is, Chandragupta idea was written in Arthashastra. That is true. I told you this thing. Then third one is, Kalinga was the ancient name of Bengal. That is false. It's the ancient name for Orissa, not for Bengal. The next is, most Ashokan inscriptions are in Brahmi scripts. Yes, either they are in Brahmi script or they are in Prakrit. That is the ordinary language of people. The next question is, what were the problems that Ashoka wanted to solve by introducing Dhamma? We already discussed in detail. He wanted to solve the problem of sacrificing animal. He wants to solve the problem of people being cruel. He wants to solve the problem of conflict that was arising between people, that is to maintain or bring peace in the society. He wants to gifts to Brahmins and monks and many more, and respect to one's religion as well as other religions as well. And next question is, what were the means adopted by Ashoka to spread the message of Dhamma? 2 means were adopted. First mean was in the form of inscription. That is, his ideas or thoughts were written on the pillars present in his kingdom. And second thing, he appointed officials, or also known as the messenger, who provided Ashoka's message to the people present in his kingdom as well as in other part of the country or in other countries also, like Egypt, Syria, etc. The next question is, why do you think slaves and servants were ill-treated? Do you think the orders of the emperor would have improved their condition? Give reasons for your answers. This I already told you that slaves and servants, they were not having a proper place in the society. They were ill-treated. And yes, of course, after the order of the king, and as they were enjoying the low socio-economic background in the society, their condition in the society improved. And the next question is, write a short paragraph explaining to Roshan why the loans are shown on currency notes. Lions are the symbol of King Ashoka only. Lions represented King Ashoka, or we can say on the other end that another name for King Ashoka was Lion, because he was one of the very influential, very great and very big emperor, who from his ideologies, from method conquered a large territory or large area under him. That is why Lion is the symbol of power, symbol of status, that is present on the various currency notes. The next question is, suppose you had the power to inscribe your orders, what 4 commands you would like to issue? That completely depends on your thinking, students. What do you think and what are your ideas that you would like to inscribe on the pillars or on the stones in your empire or in your area? So students, that's it about our chapter. Our chapter is finished. I hope you understand the topic very well, and thank you so much, students. Now we will meet in the next class. Thank you, students.